What did I make? I've got some peanut butter. I made something peanut butter last week. What do I have? Oh, I only have half a loaf of bread? Well, I can fix that. Here we go. Alright, here's what we're gonna need. We need at least 5 cups of flour, a half cup of sugar, 2 cups of warm water, 1.5 teaspoons of salt, 2 tablespoons of olive oil, and 1.5 tablespoons of active dry yeast. Okay, let's mix some things together, shall we? First, we're going to put in 2 cups of flour. I'm just using all-purpose flour. You could use whole wheat if you want to be fancy, but I am not. So, next we add our active dry yeast. This is our leavening agent, which means this is what is going to make our bread rise. So, I've got a tablespoon and a half-ish. And I'm actually just putting that right in with my flour. Some people like to put it in the hot water to let it bloom. But you get the same thing if you just put it in with your flour and your sugar. So, speaking of sugar, mix that together. Now is when we add our sugar, just plain white sugar, which is essentially going to feed our yeast. So, when the yeast gets activated by the warm water, it eats the sugar and essentially burps up carbon dioxide, okay, which makes those nice little air pockets in our bread. So I mix that together, and last thing we're going to add is some salt, which is for flavoring. So mix those together one last time. Or just do a thumbs up. That's cool. And now is when we start playing with our water. Alright, so now we need to heat the water. And I'm putting it in the microwave. We're aiming for about 110 degrees so that it's warm enough to wake the yeast up, but not so hot that it's going to kill it, because that could happen. And that wouldn't be great. So, I think I ended up giving it about a minute, and we're going to check with our thermometer. I have a candy thermometer, so that's what we're using. We're at about 110, so we are ready to go. Alright, so now that we have our water nice and toasty, we're gonna start making our dough. It's gonna look like goop at first. It is. That's just how it's gonna work. So I'm adding it in a little bit at a time and then giving it a good mix with a rubber spatula. Some people insist on using a wooden spoon. I don't think it matters that much, but whatever makes your heart happy. So adding a little bit more water, making our goopy mixture. Ooh, it's fine. Slime is really popular right now, isn't it? And then we're gonna keep mixing until it is mostly incorporated. And we are probably gonna need more flour. Okay, so this is now cup 3 of flour, and we're mixing that in so that we get some nice structure in our bread. And this might take a while. I'm doing like a folding kind of action here. I think of this as pre-kneading. So we're working the flour into the water and the water into the flour and vice versa. But we're not doing needing to build structure yet. So we're on cup number 4, and we're mixing again. This is kind of an arm workout once we get kneading here. So we're gonna mix it until it is kind of a ball of dough, and then we get to start our kneading process. All right, here we go. So I've still pad down on the counter, and yet again we are adding absolutely more flour. Who would have thought? The part of this flour is to make bread not stick to whatever surface you're kneading on, because that is a pain and a half to clean up. So dump out your goopy bread dough and give it a little pat. And this is where we start getting messy. Oh, Miss Frizzle would be so proud. All right, so now we're starting to knead, which is building those gluten strands. Gluten strands are what gives our bread structure, because it is what's going to trap the CO2 that is being released by our yeast. That kind of rhymed, and my hands are sticky. So here we go. So we're kind of pulling the bread over on itself. Kind of right now I'm just kind of mushing it together and struggling with my sleeves at this point. Here we go. Okay, back into the fray. So we're folding the bread over on itself and adding more flour if it's too sticky. And we're gonna do this for about 5 minutes, or until it bounces back when you punch it, or, well, don't punch it, but you touch it nicely. Be nice to the bread. Okay, it is so sticky right now. Ugh. It's okay, it's fine. It's bread. This is how it goes. So folding, 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 adding more flour. I suppose I should have made this a montage or something. And once we're all folded together, there we go. Whew. All right, we've got our bread. So now what we're gonna do is take our lovely bouncy dough. You can see it kind of rises back when I poke it, and put it into a greased bowl. I'm putting maybe a tablespoon, I just call it a bloop, honestly, of our olive oil into our glass bowl, and spreading it around so that our bread doesn't stick too much to our bowl. So pick it up. Oh, it's so bouncy, so heavy. All right, that's enough. And put it to rest in its nice little cozy bowl. And we're going to show it off, because look how pretty that is. Oh. Okay, enough. We're going to put it to bed and cover it with a towel. I have a slightly damp cloth to avoid crustiness on the top. And we're going to let it rest in a warm place, which is, for me, on top of my oven. Okay, good night. Good night. Okay. And preheat it to 350 degrees. And basically, while that's preheating, we're good. Alright, so it has doubled in size. I let it chill out for about 20 minutes, maybe a half an hour. And if you look, you can see all of those little air pockets in the side of our bowl here, which means that all of that CO2 that the yeast has released has helped our bread. So what Brandon is doing right now is punching down the dough enthusiastically. Maybe be a little more gentle. That's okay. And we're just getting a little bit of that excess air out. Oh my goodness, it's so satisfying. It's like a cross between slime and Play-Doh without any of the stickiness anymore. Well, maybe a little stickiness. It's fine. All right. We're going to turn this out onto a floured surface. Yes, more flour. And gently pry it away from its current little home. It's okay. It'll be fine. Come on. Come on. It doesn't want to leave. Ooh. Ugh. Okay, there we go. Almost there. Okay. And we're gonna knead this for another 3-ish minutes. And we're getting those final structures in there. Oh, it is so satisfying to play with right now. Oh, look at that. Look at that. Okay. Yeah, don't punch it anymore. Alright. And we've shaped it back into a nice blob. Oh god, it smells so good right now. Alright. So we've got our nice little blob structure here. I'm going to go and get the pans that we're going to use for our bread. And they have been greased. See how shiny it is. Oh, make sure you don't have too much flour on the bottom of the pan. And we're going to divide our dough in half to make 2 loaves of bread. If you have a bigger bread pan, you can have just one massive loaf, or you could bake it on a tray and have like a rustic looking circle bread thing. I don't know, I went for loaves. So we shape it kind of into a log and thunk it down into the pan. Alright, that's number 1. And we do the same thing with number 2 here. And second pan, which is also greased. And thwunk, down it goes into the pan. And time to let it rise again. So I put it back in its nice warm spot in the pans this time. And we cover it with the same slightly damp cloth. I'm tucking it in here gently. I don't know why I really wanted to commit to tucking it in like it was bedtime, but I did. All right, good night, and let rest. All right, so our dough has doubled in size once again, and now we get to send them on their little journey into the oven at 350 for about 40 minutes, or until the tops are golden brown. See you in a bit. Hallelujah, hallelujah. We have bread now, we have bread now. It's so golden brown. Okay. Oh my goodness, guys, my house smells so good right now. And it just has crusted the top of the pan, which means it rose nicely. And I'm gonna be honest, I'm probably only gonna let this cool for like maybe 10 minutes before I try and slather some Nutella on this. Oh, I hope you guys enjoyed, and thanks for watching. See you next time.